In this lesson, we'll learn how we can access props within a React class component. Remember, in a functional component, we access props through the first function parameter to our function. But now we are within a totally different paradigm within a class. But the good news is the syntax is not going to be that crazy. So first up, we are rendering this app component as the topmost component in the app. So if I want to actually pass props into it, I'm going to need to head to our index.js file. Here is where we are actually rendering, or in other words, instantiating that component right here. And we can provide our usual prop syntax. So for example, I can provide a prop of title set to hello. In this case, the prop and its value is totally arbitrary, but this is totally valid syntax for passing in props. Once again, regardless of whether you are working with a functional component or a class component. The question is, within our app component, which is now a class component, how do we get access to that collection of props? So we can get access to that collection by referencing this dot props. And we can do that in any method within our component, including the render method. So right here, I can simply access this dot props, and I can reference it before our return JSX, so treat it like a regular JavaScript object. I can destructure properties from it or use it in some kind of calculation, or I can directly use it in line as long as I prefix whatever property I'm referencing with this dot props. So for example, if I wanted to render our title right here as our button text, well, I'm going to need to render something that is a JavaScript expression. So we'll begin as always with the curly braces. And then this dot props is going to be a collection of all of our props passed in from our parent. And we know that right now our parent is giving us title. So we can see on the right-hand side, we are getting hello, which is the value of the title prop passed in from the parent right here. If I change this instead to goodbye, we are passing in a different value, but we're still rendering the title prop. So we see goodbye right here. All right, and we are not obligated to strictly render it in line. Like I mentioned, we can treat this like any other object. So for example, right here, I can destructure the title property off of this dot props and simply render title in here because that is a reference to that prop. All right, so anywhere you can reference props, but you have to prefix it with the this keyword. In JavaScript world, this refers to the instance of the class, the actual object that we create, which is the actual component. But if you don't want to get too technical, just remember to reference anything on props. You can access this dot props, and that will be the object of all the props passed in from the parent. All right, so if we understand this concept, we can go back to the code we had in the previous lesson because we don't actually need props right now. So I'm going to go back to log into account right here, remove this comment, and then back in our index.js file, I'm going to remove the title prop like so. All right, so that is how we reference props within a class-based React component, and I will see you in the next lesson.